Tú eres más bonito.
15 seconds.
15 segundos y empezamos. Él va a presentar. ¿Quieres subirlo?
Okay. Hello, good to have you with us on Red Barn Radio. I'm Brad Becker. Tonight we are in our 21st season of Red Barn Radio, and we welcome you to show number 790. We're finally there. Larry Bellorin and Joe Troop were destined to make music together. Larry hails from Manaus, Venezuela, and is a legend there. Joe Troop is from North Carolina and is a Grammy-nominated bluegrass and old-time musician here. Forced into exile from Venezuela, Larry sought asylum in North Carolina. Joe spent a decade in South America, and then in pandemic times, his acclaimed Latin grass band Che Appalachia had to go into hiatus. Joe returned to his stomping grounds in Winston-Salem, and it is there that he met and then shared music with Larry. We're so glad to have these talented players with us on Red Barn tonight. We present to you Larry Bellorin and Joe Troop.
Good evening and welcome to Red Barn Radio. Wherever in the world you're listening, welcome to Roots Music Southern Style. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. Red Barn Radio is supported by Visit Lex, Lexington, Kentucky's Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information on what Lexington has to offer is at visitlex.com. LexArts, Lexington, Kentucky's premier cultural development, advocacy, and fundraising organization, working for the development of a strong and vibrant arts community as a means of enhancing the quality of life in Central Kentucky. Follow Red Barn Radio on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Here's the host of Red Barn Radio to tell us more about tonight's performers.
Currently based in the Triangle of North Carolina, both of our guests this evening are versatile multi-instrumentalists and singer-songwriters. As a duo, they perform a fusion of Venezuelan and Appalachian folk music on harp, banjo, cuatro, fiddle, maracas, guitar, upright bass, and whatever else it is that they've decided to load into the van tonight. Duke professor Dr. Sofia Enriquez calls their work a new paradigm that's challenging our ideas of roots music in the South. Their music, she says, raises important questions about our relationships to one another, Latino migration to the South, and the shifting musical footprint of the United States. Troop and Bellorin show how joy and creativity through music making persist and offer a healing path forward. Welcome Larry Bellorin and Joe Troop to Red Barn Radio.
Del te quiero para cantarte varinas, paisaje de ensoñación que me ha regalado Dios frente a las cumbres andinas. Por eso cuando te canto, traigo el olor del mastranto, el perfume de tus flores. Y sé bien que tus mujeres son las rosas y claveles del jardín de mis amores. Linda Varinas, tierra llanera, camino de palma y sol, donde se pintan tan lindas siempre sus tardes, cuando matiza el paisaje pinceles de un arrebol. Linda Varinas, tierra llanera, camino de palma y sol, donde se pintan tan lindas siempre sus tardes, cuando matiza el paisaje pinceles de un arrebol. Del te quiero para cantarte varinas, paisaje de ensoñación que me ha regalado Dios frente a las cumbres andinas. Por eso cuando te canto, traigo el olor del mastranto y el perfume de tus flores. Y
sé bien que tus mujeres son las rosas y claveles del jardín de mis amores.
Linda Marinas, tierra llanera, camino de palma y sol.
Donde se pintan tan lindas siempre sus tardes, cuando matiza el paisaje, pinceles de un arrebol.
Linda Marinas, tierra llanera, camino de palma y sol.
Donde se pintan tan lindas siempre sus tardes, cuando matiza el paisaje, pinceles de un arrebol. Buenas noches a todos. Para nosotros es un gran placer estar con ustedes esta noche.
Good evening,
Trayendo-
everybody. It's a great pleasure for us to be with you tonight,
Trayendo lo mejor de nuestro repertorio, nuestra música.
bringing the best of our repertoire and of our music.
Este tema lleva por nombre Mi Querencia,
This next song is named Mi Querencia, or What I'm Longing For,
compuesto por el gran Simón Díaz.
composed by the great Simón Díaz.
Espero que lo disfruten. Para
Hope you
todos
like it.
ustedes, Joe Troop y Larry Bellorin.
Yeah, and for all of you, Joe Troop and Larry Bellorin. Segundito.
1, 2, 3. Lucero de la mañana, préstame tu claridad
Para alumbrarle los pasos a mi amante que se va. Si pasas algún trabajo lejos de mi soledad y la lucero del alma que te vuelva a regresar. Dile al lucero del alma que te vuelva a regresar.
Si mi querencia es el monte y mi fuerza el cimarrón, ¿cómo no quieres que cante? ¿Cómo no quieres que cante como canta un corazón? Si mi querencia es el monte y la flor de Araguané, ¿cómo no quieres que tenga? ¿Cómo no quieres que tenga tantas ganas de volver? Si mi querencia es el monte y una punta de ganado, ¿cómo no quieres que sueñe? ¿Cómo no quieres que sueñe con el sol de los veranos? Lucero de la mañana, préstame tu claridad para alumbrarle los pasos a mi amante que se va. Si pasas algún trabajo lejos de mi soledad. Y dile al lucero del alba que te vuelva a regresar. Dile al lucero del alba que te vuelva a regresar. Si mi querencia es el monte y mi fuerza el cimarrón, ¿cómo no quieres que cante? ¿Cómo no quieres que cante como canta un corazón? Si mi querencia es el monte y la flor de aguaney, ¿cómo no quieres que tenga? ¿Cómo no quieres que tenga tantas ganas de volver? Si mi querencia es el monte y una punta de ganado, ¿cómo no quieres que sueñe? ¿Cómo no quieres que sueñe con el sol de los venados?
Well, thank you so much. Larry is an incredible friend and wonderful resource for the state of North Carolina. I'm very, very glad that he ended up in Raleigh and that we were able to form this duo. He is going to grab the cuatro, which is kind of the essence of Venezuelan folk music. This curious little ukulele-like instrument packs a powerful punch, as you're about to see. And we're going to do a bambuco. It's a Colombian song, but through a Venezuelan joropo oriental lens, and it's called Los Doce. And it's a workout, so fingers, Godspeed. Thank you. Ahorita el bajo.
Okay.
So Larry's going to have to be changing instruments a lot, and so am I, but it's his turn first.
Llegaron los 15 minutos de los voleibolistas.
He says it's like a volleyball match. Every 15 minutes, you got to switch out the player. The players being the instruments. He's a great bassist, and he's going to show that off right now. Larry and I met through Sofia Enriquez, who you mentioned, Brad, in the introduction. And we met up for the first time in December of 2021. And the first song we ever played was this song that I wrote in solidarity with the migrant community in the United States. And this one has a very special place in his heart. It's the first song of mine that he learned, and we're going to sing it together. It's called Hermano Migrante. En mi tierra natal,
Andando por la sierra, cuestionando leyendas propagadas sin fin.
Una pena inquietante,
Al güerito me sigue,
como
era la gente que ya estaba aquí.
Estados Unidos, su pasado apesta, desde siempre detesta admitir la verdad. Nuestra tierra querida
Se fundó con mentiras
y no solo es nuestra,
por saber bien robar.
por nacer en otro lado. Dicen no eres de aquí,
Mientras sin tus esfuerzos ni podrían vivir.
gritan calla migrante,
Esperanza no hay.
do you work without papers, keep us fed and go die. Yo te veo migrante, me conmueve tu lucha, aguantando torturas en mi tierra natal. Sociedad descarada, ni me entra a la mente que este gran continente
Es tu tierra ancestral.
Red Barn Radio are Larry Bellorin and Joe Troop. They travel as Larry and Joe, and we are so glad to have them with us. Kayla down in North Carolina says the feed is working beautifully, and it sounds great down there. If you've been listening, folks, even for 5 minutes, you know that these guys are beautiful singers and players, and what a privilege it is to have you guys on the show, Joe.
Such a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks.
And thanks, Kayla, for listening to us from North Carolina. She's our manager.
Yes,
and
right.
Our angel. So.
Oh, all right. So I wonder if I would like to talk with each of you about your musical journey. My thought is that we would have you go one at a time. We have 2 interviews during the program, so why not do Larry first? And I would love for you to tell your story sort of through a lens that's focused on music and family.
Okay.
As much as possible. And I have a few questions, but Larry, you can feel free to speak as long as you want. You do not need to.
And I'll do some simultaneous interpretation.
Oh, that's great.
A través de una lente que tiene que ver con la familia y tu experiencia musical, si podrías hablar acerca de tu viaje musical, familiar, hasta llegar a este momento.
Bueno, mi historia nace en mi pueblo, en Monagas, Venezuela.
His story starts in his hometown of Monagas, Venezuela. In Monagas, Tejero is his hometown.
Tejero, en Punta de Mata.
Near Punta de Mata Township.
Inicié mi carrera cuando tenía 11 años.
I started my career at the age of 11.
Con el 4 comencé.
I started with cuatro.
Y mi profesor se dio cuenta que tenía un poco de talento para aprender rápido los instrumentos de cuerda.
And my teacher realized that I had a facility for stringed instruments.
Y me dio la libertad de tomar más de uno para aprender a ejecutarlos.
And he gave me the opportunity to pick up more than one instrument and try to play them.
Al mismo tiempo, pues inicié la carrera como cantante.
And at the same time, I got started in my career as a vocalist.
Después de haber hecho todo esto, comencé a hacer música con bandas, orquestas.
And having done all that, I started playing music with bands and orchestras.
Y luego la parte profesional con 2 producciones discográficas de música venezolana, de música llanera.
And then as a professional musician, I've made 2 albums of música llanera, which is the folk tradition we started playing.
Me trasladé a los Estados Unidos en el 2016.
I came to the United States in 2016.
Un cambio total, vuelco a mi vida.
Complete change and upturning of my life.
Mi vida cambia porque no llegué a hacer música, llegué a trabajar en la construcción.
My life changed greatly because I didn't come here to play music. I came here to work in construction.
Pues para sustentar a mis hijos y a mi esposa.
To provide for my children and for my wife.
Y 6 años y medio después conocí a Joe.
And 6.5 years later, I met Joe.
A través de unos grandes amigos, Sofía Enríquez. Y
through some great friends like Sofía Enríquez.
A quien conocí por medio de un amigo Rafael Osuba.
Who I met through Rafael Osuba.
Y nos conectaron vía telefónica a Joe y a mí.
And they connected us through phone.
Y solo íbamos a hacer una presentación.
And we were only going to do one presentation in December of 2021.
De la cual ocurrió la bendición y la magia de que se repitió 4 veces consecutivas.
But there was a blessing, a magical blessing in which we were able to repeat that and do 4 presentations in December.
Joe se va a una gira en una carrera actoral. Porque es actor.
Joe went on a theater company tour.
Regresó 2 meses después.
And 2 months later, came back, moved to Durham.
Y comenzó nuestra historia juntos.
And that's when our story together started.
Oh, lovely. I wonder if, Larry, you could tell folks a little bit about llanera music.
¿Puedes decirle algo a la gente sobre la música llanera?
Which is your specialty.
Lo cual es tu especialidad.
La música llanera es una de las músicas representativas de mi país.
Llanera music is one of the representative musics of my country.
En la actualidad unió a 2 países hermanos, Colombia y Venezuela.
And nowadays it has unified two brother countries, Venezuela and Colombia.
Y es la música que se toca con instrumentos de cuerdas,
It's a music played with strings. It's a string band music.
con un instrumento hecho por nuestros ancestros, como lo son las maracas.
With an instrument made by our ancestors, the maracas.
Una música bastante extensa en estilos,
It's a very extensive stylistic music
pero muy rica.
and very rich.
Esa es nuestra música.
That's our music.
Nice. Could you tell us a little bit, Larry, about how you happened to be introduced to the llano harp?
¿Cómo es que se te introdujo a la arpa llanera?
El arpa llanera, mis oídos lograron escuchar un arpa y mirarla a través de la televisión cuando tenía como algunos 12 años.
When I was like 12 years old, my ears were able to feast on the llanera harp through a television show.
Pero era sumamente difícil obtener o llegar a ser arpista porque es muy costoso el instrumento.
But it was very difficult to get a harp in your hands because it's a very expensive instrument.
Aparte, yo vengo del oriente del país y esta es música del llano.
Also, I'm from the eastern part of the country, and this is from the Plains region, which is in the western part of the country.
Pero llegó a mi pueblo el maestro Urbino Ruiz de Apure,
But from the Llano region, from the Llano state of Apure, my teacher, Urbino Ruiz, came to the eastern part of the country.
luego me hice su cuatrista
And I was able to become his cuatrista. Urbino Ruiz is a harp player.
y a los 15 años comencé a tomar el arpa un poco escondidas del maestro.
And at the age of 15, I was able to sneak some harp in behind my teacher's back.
Un día el tiempo no lo calculé bien
And one day I didn't calculate the timing very well,
y el maestro entró de repente.
and my teacher suddenly came in, walked in on me,
Yo me quedé frío, congelado.
and I froze.
Disculpe, maestro.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, teacher.
Cuando voy a bajar el arpa me dijo, no la bajes.
And when I was going to
Sigue
put the
tocando.
harp down, he said, don't put it down. Keep playing.
Y comenzó la historia.
And that's how it got started.
Wow. Where are the instruments made?
¿Dónde se fabrican los instrumentos?
Esta arpa pues es legendaria de Venezuela,
This is a legendary type of harp from Venezuela,
pero ahora mismo se están fabricando en Colombia por esta unión que se hizo entre Colombia y Venezuela a través del llano.
but nowadays they're made in Colombia thanks to the union which Música Llanera formed between Colombia and Venezuela.
Y la fabrican tanto en Venezuela como en Colombia.
And they're made as much in Colombia as they are in Venezuela.
Esta arpa fue construida en Colombia
And this harp was made in Colombia.
y se ha regado por todo el mundo. Hay constructores de arpas en Perú,
And now there are makers throughout the world in Peru.
y la trascendencia de ella ha sido maravillosa porque ha enriquecido la parte folclórica de mi país.
And this instrument has had a marvelous, ¿qué fue la palabra que usaste?
Enriquecido, porque ha
It
enriquecido
was a very enriching
mi folclore.
ascendance. Or something.
Resurgence.
Resurgence, yeah. Or no me acuerdo de la palabra que tú dijiste, pero tampoco. Sorry, I forgot the word he said. Not a professional interpreter here.
You're doing a great
Very
job.
good,
Yeah,
eh?
doing my best.
Good job, man.
It's
That's
all
thanks, buddy.
it's all working. It's all
Transcendence. It was a marvelous
Transcendence.
transcendence. I remembered
Oh,
it like
okay.
very late.
yes.
Good job, Joe.
Much different from resurgence. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
All right. I'm glad we
transcendence.
clarified
Marvelous transcendence.
that. I wonder if it was my imagination, Larry, or if you were actually tuning that instrument while you were playing it.
No sé si fue mi imaginación o si vos estabas afinando ese instrumento mientras lo tocabas.
Sí, estaba alterando unas notas.
Yeah, I was actually altering several notes.
Debía pasar de la tonalidad completa mayor
I had to go from a completely major tuning
al relativo menor.
to the relative minor.
During the song?
Durante la canción? Yes.
Al principio.
At the beginning of the
Y al
song.
final tienes que regresarla a la afinación.
And then at the end, I had to go back to the other tuning. And the harp actually has levers because it's a 33 note instrument. There's 33 strings, but you change the mode of the harp depending on what key you're playing in. So if he has to change keys, he has to alter the mode by changing the notes that would need to be changed.
That's
Le
good.
expliqué cómo es la vaina.
In my simple little mind, I was imagining, 33 tweaks happening along the way.
En mi mente sencilla estaba imaginando 33 cambiecitos.
Thank goodness.
Con
no.
8 dedos, solo con 8
Yeah,
dedos.
with only eight fingers.
Well, still
Se toca con los
impressive.
pulgares.
Still
Eso
impressive.
no se usa el pequeño.
It doesn't. I didn't know this, but apparently they don't use the pinky. I was like, 8 fingers. Are you sure humans don't have 10? But yeah, we're learning here.
And finally, tell me about the nails on your plucking hand, your right hand.
Háblame
Are they real or are they artificial? Are they
Háblame de las
Maybelline?
uñas de tu mano derecha, si son verdaderas uñas o si son artificiales, como una marca que se llama Maybelline acá, que es una broma que tiro. Give him some context here in translation.
Debido a que todavía me enfrento al trabajo de la construcción,
And since I'm still working in construction,
son plásticas.
they're plastic
Porque las uñas naturales, pues se quiebran.
because my God-given nails get broken off.
Incluso acaba de ocurrir un accidente.
And I just had an accident.
Solo quedaban 10 minutos para entrar y se despegó una.
There was 10 minutes before showtime, and one of them came unglued right now. But, so
Hay
he
que
had to,
correr.
yeah, he had to run back and work on his nails. The manicurist didn't make it, so we were,
¿Dónde está la pega?
yeah.
Y difícil porque se pierde todo.
It's difficult because in that moment you always lose everything when the pressure's on.
Well, as you rise to the big time, Larry and Joe, you'll be able to have your own manicurist.
Y
who
una vez que
travels
nos
with you.
hagamos famosos vamos a tener manicurista.
So, our guest
Hasta
is,
ahí. Ya tenemos. His wife's a great manicurist.
oh,
She does
perfect.
great
Y
nails. So.
maquillista.
And a makeup artist. So,
Very nice.
yeah, we're set.
All right.
Sí, es que
good.
no, yo con esta belleza extraña.
Yeah, with
Necesito
my strange
maquillaje.
beauty, I can use some makeup.
Un poco de retoque.
A little touch up here and there.
Well, you have a beautiful voice, Larry.
Tienes una voz hermosa, Larry.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And do you enjoy harmonizing with your translator?
¿Te gusta armonizar con tu traductor?
Ya. Es mi traductor favorito.
He's my favorite translator, he says.
Él es increíble.
He's incredible. I'm just
How do you
translating
feel
here,
about
y'all. I'm
that?
not saying this about myself. All right.
All right. Our guests this evening on Red Barn Radio are Larry Bellorin and Joe Troop. They're from Venezuela and Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, both living in Raleigh-Durham now. And they travel as Larry and Joe, and we are so glad to have them with us on Red Barn Radio. Let's get back to some music.
Thanks, Brad. This next one is called The Dreamer, and it's about a friend of mine named Moises Serrano. He's a DACA recipient from Yadkin County, North Carolina. And with his permission, I'm going to use the anglicized version of his name, Moses, to tell his story. This is called, again, The Dreamer.
Mi composición favorita.
And it's Larry's favorite of my compositions. Thanks, buddy. Dos, tres. Shepherds wouldn't roam or so harsh a land. There the sun beats down like hellfire. Bones mark a path clear across the sands, forlorn souls upon them walking. Poor baby Moses, one but 1 year old,
when his mom crossed the border. Two little girls scurrying along in tow. He was crying on her shoulder. Their long journey's end was Yadkin County, Tobacco Road, North Carolina, where a grief-stricken daddy prayed through desperate nights, his family to soon be reunited. Well, Moses grew up playing hide and seek amongst rhododendron branches, but his mama's fear ran mighty deep in the hills of Appalachia. Blue flashing lights through endless nights proved the world was unforgiving. An immigrant child must face a life where dreaming is forbidden. Lord, when all is said and done, and this tired old race is run, is there room for love beneath the sun? After all is said and done. As sure as sunset fades to dusk, and summer green gives way to auburn, into the wilds was Moses thrust, for to wade against rough waters. Now you and I can sing a song, and we can build a congregation, but only when we take a stand will we change our broken nation. Lord, when all is said and done, and this tired old race is run, is there room for love beneath the sun? After all is said and done.
Nuestra próxima canción
So this next song
está incluida en nuestro trabajo discográfico,
is included on our latest discographic work,
que estará listo para el mes próximo,
which is going to start dropping as singles next month and should come out by the end of the year,
con el favor de Dios.
God willing.
Espero que lo disfruten.
We hope you
Lleva
enjoy it.
el nombre de nuestro disco,
Yeah,
Nuevo South Train.
Yeah, and it's the title track of the album. It's the Nuevo South Train. And if anyone in the South is wondering what the Nuevo South is, well, you are, and so are we. So hop on board. That Nuevo South Train chugging. It's chugging on around the bends. Just hop on board and you're sure to praise the Lord, and you're bound to make a mighty fine friend or two. Bien, a lo lejos se escucha el sonido que hace brincar a mi alma. Viene acercando con grande rechino, chuchú. Chuchú.
nos llevará por caminos de gran aventura. Ahora ya está llegando el tren nuevo sur. Nuevo South train pulling into the station. All aboard.
Todas a bordo.
That nuevo South train chugging. It's chugging on around the bend. So saddle up your fear and send your friends souvenir and let your words disappear to spot a lack engineers will kick this baby into gear and chug a luggo down the yellow brick way. Hey, hey, hey.
Y como llama un vaquero a su hija.
Todo el ritmo que llevamos los pasajeros explota enseguida. Vamos viajando con un triqui triqui pum pum triqui triqui pum pum triqui triqui pum pum triqui triqui pum pum triqui triqui. Pinche pendejo no quiere subirse a gozar y nos ve con despecho. Ay, pobrecito que quiere vivir sin sazón, sin corazón. That nuevo South train chugging, it's chugging on around the bend. So let your jello get jiggy, baby, it ain't no biggie. Buy some snacks, Piggly Wiggly, no need to pinch pitties, pretty ponies on a whinny. Chinny, chinny, chin, chinnies. Just a silly bunch of ninnies, Richard Robin, Hazel Henny, make a box car spinning. Wings flapping with our barnyard friends. Picky grinning in the piggy pig pen. Car to feed him up.
Se va, se va, se va. Nuevo South Train.
Oh, I'm supposed to talk. I thought we're back to the interview. Sorry about that. Awkward silence for everyone listening.
Oh, that was lovely.
We love awkward silence in this business. So I'm going to have to grab the fiddle, and Larry's going to get back on cuatro. And we're going to do the Orange Blossom special of Venezuelan fiddle tradition. This is it's not the Orange Blossom special, but it is kind of like a nice segue from a train song. And I heard my luthier, the man who built this beautiful banjo that I'm playing, Mr. John Hamlet, chuckled like a jovial banjo-making son of a gun. And I'm going to grab the fiddle. Here we go.
Nobody chuckles like a banjo maker.
Nobody chuckles like a banjo maker. Nobody chuckles like a banjo maker. That's like kind of like, sounds kind of like that.
It's our first collaboration.
Yeah, we did it. This is I'm gonna get all the royalties though. I'm just joking. So, El Gavilán Tocuyano de Pablo Caneda.
We've got lots more music and conversation with Larry and Joe. We're just beginning, but I'd like to take a minute to remind listeners that Red Barn live streams, both tonight's and on any Wednesday, remain available online for you to view at your convenience on the Red Barn YouTube channel. Our live video stream is also available on the weku.org website, as is our audio stream, compliments of whom? WGAD.net in Central New York. Don't miss a single episode of our program, and be sure to tell your friends what it is that you like about Red Barn Radio and why they should be listening too. Tyler Hood, our guest next week, comes to us from Southern Indiana. Tyler writes with wit and sincerity that's sharp and bold, from heroic ballads of country living to refreshing tales of deliciously mundane everyday life. Tyler writes and sings the stories of the region that raised him. He released his debut solo album, Lost Love and Home, with his previous band, the Hill Figs, in April of 22. Then, in September of 2022, he released a solo live album, The Magnolia Sessions, recorded in Nashville, Tennessee. Be sure to join us for this up-and-coming artist, that's Tyler Hood, next week on Red Barn Radio. Now let's get back to tonight's Red Barn Radio program. We welcome you live on our social media platforms, broadcasting from the Arts Place Performance Hall here in the grand city of Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome back, Larry and Joe.
Oh, pleasure to be here. I guess we're going to do another one now. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Fiesta en el Orsa. I'll get back to my fiddle mic. So this is a fun party song called Fiesta en el Orsa, also from the música llanera tradition that Larry is a living legend of. Here you have it.
Un 19 de marzo para un baile me invitaron a la población de Orsa, y sus fiestas patronales. Sus muchachas tan bonitas con su belleza adornaban, y bajo el cielo llanero por las calles se paseaban, con sonrisas de alegría y perfumes de sabana. Y al despuntar la mañana con aire de una parranda, cantándole a las muchachas en el Orsa me encontraba. Entre palos de aguardiente la vida feliz pasaba. Principio de la semana se despidieron mis ojos de este lindo panorama, recordando con cariño muchachas, pueblo y sabana. Llanero muere cantando aunque esté penando el alma, soy nacido en el apure, cantor de la tierra llana. Y mañana cuando muera no me lloren mis paisanos, que me entierren en Arauca, sombra de un matapalo, y que la espuma del río traiga recuerdos lejanos.
So we've got an audience here in the studio today, which is really awesome. You guys ready to work? Y'all want to work with us? All right, cool. We're going to get some backup singing on this one. There's this sweet corn pancake in Venezuela that Larry just loves. It's called cachapa. He talks about it all the time. I even got to eat it because his wife, Ataí, makes a really wonderful cachapa. And I heard so much about it that I decided to write him a song called La Cachapa. And we're going to get you to sing the second chorus. If you're at home, you're also welcome to sing. The last verse goes, miren, miren la cara alegre que tiene cachapa, ya comió. And we need y'all to say, ya comió! Ya comió! Because I'm saying, miren la cara alegre que tiene. Look at that happy face he has. Cachapa, ya comió. He just ate cachapa. And you said, ya comió, which means he just ate it. So yeah. Anyway, let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Miren la cara alegre que tiene cachapa, ya comió. Ya comió! Perfect. So you got 4 chances to do it, and here it is. Larry's cachapa. del cabrestero. Okay, so this next one is just going to be voice and harp. And I'll let Larry tell you a little bit about this kind of song. ¿Quieres hablarles un poquito? Because of all these wonderful bodies in this space, it's gotten hotter. The instrument strings are changing tunings. We got to touch them up sometimes.
Esta canción a continuación es un tema escrito por un gran cantautor venezolano.
This next song was written by a great Venezuelan singer-songwriter.
Su nombre es Simón Díaz.
His name was Simón Díaz.
Este canto que va a interpretar Joe
This singing style, which Joe is going to interpret,
es un canto que hacía la gente del campo cuando ordeñaba las vacas.
is a style of singing that country people would sing while milking cows.
Dicen la leyenda que la vaca cuando le cantas mientras la ordeñas, la relajas.
And according to popular legend, if you sing while milking the cow, it relaxes.
Y puede dar el doble de la producción
And it can
normal.
give you
De leche.
twice as much milk production. So if you start to lactate while listening to this song, you might be a cow. Yeah.
Este canto se hace en la madrugada, eso de 3, 4 de la mañana.
This kind of song is done at 3 or 4 in the morning
Antes de que los becerros lleguen a mamar la leche. de la
before the
vaca.
calves come to nurse.
Un canto bastante difícil, pero lo va a hacer muy bonito mi amigo Joe Troop.
It's a very difficult style of singing, but my friend Joe Troop is going to do it very beautifully.
Eso espero.
I hope. La tonada del cabrestero. Camino del llano viene, puntera en la soledad. Camino del llano viene, puntera en la soledad. El cabrestero cantando ay. Su copla en la madrugada. El cabrestero cantando su copla en la madrugada. Pero el toro pita la vaca y el novillo se retira. Como el novillo era toro, la vaca siempre lo mira, mariposa, nube de agua. La luna busca la sombra y no la puede encontrar. La luna busca la sombra, no la puede encontrar. Que la sombra se esconde ay, detrás de la madrugada. Porque la sombra se esconde detrás de la madrugada. Pero no llores más, no me des agua. Silencia tanta amargura que toda leche da queso y toda pena se cura lucería.
viene la mañanita cayendo sobre el palmar. Ya viene la mañanita cayendo sobre el palmar. El cabrestero prosigue. Con su doliente cantar. El cabrestero prosigue con su doliente cantar. Mañana cuando me vaya, ¿quién se acordará de mí? Solamente la tinaja por el agua que le viví, no sería.
Joe, I'm speechless.
I am too. I forgot this is radio. Yeah. I was gesticulating as if I were too. I'm never speechless. That's part of the problem.
Wow. Okay. So why don't we begin this interview, which belongs to you, with you talking some about your vocal training, because that song is not for the inexperienced vocalist.
It has a lot of Venezuelan music is it's like a playground for musical styles to merge. There's a lot going on in Venezuelan folk music, and the tonadas have a particularly flamenco-y kind of vibe. I spent a couple years in Spain as a teenager. Well, I guess I got there when I was 19, and I was exposed to canto hondo, like a very passionate style of singing, which is what they sing in Andalusia, in the southern region of Spain. And then I realized that canto recio is what they have in Venezuela. It has a similar spirit. There's a lot of influence from Spanish music and Venezuelan music, but a whole lot of other stuff. So anyway, I started dabbling with vocal styles while learning to sing bluegrass as a teenager. That high lonesome sound kind of has a similar falsetto, kind of like, gospel, Southern gospel has that praise moment kind of thing.
Yeah.
All folk music traditions are connected somehow through this X factor of expression. And I feel like I've just, from having dabbled in many different styles of singing, been able to figure stuff out trial by fire. I've hurt my voice a lot, and then I had to incorporate some breathing techniques and some warm-up techniques, and then you figure it out. Being on the road and playing multiple gigs and singing every night can get you hoarse real quick. So you have to figure out your own ways, really, of avoiding those problems, and also expanding your range and knowing your limitations. And so I've just kind of like Larry and I are both folk musicians. We just kind of learn on the fly. We've learned by playing gigs and going to festivals, and it's kind of like street cred style of neither of us are really classically trained in anything we do. We've just kind of figured it out with some good guidance, good mentors,
I should think.
But not so methodological. Like there's not much methodology. It's not like our mentors are. It's not like classical music where there's an academy, and
sure,
we've just kind of learned from people that we befriended and hung around so we could learn from them.
So is any of the music that the two of you play together improvisational?
The tonadas, there's a melody, but I was improvising just then.
Vocally,
yeah. There are, because sometimes, you've got to improvise. You got to know, well, tonight I think I can hit that high note. Tonight I was like, I can hit that. So I just went for it. And improvisation, I'm not a great master of improvisation by any means. If anyone has listened to the album, you'll notice that sometimes for quality control, I just go for the solo I know I'm going to execute. Sometimes but there are moments where I feel like going for it. But I wouldn't consider myself a great improviser, though there are moments for improvisation always. And in this material, there's always something you can tweak. Even if you've got an arrangement, you might feel like spicing it up.
Okay, so was there a point when you felt it was important for you to sort of rearrange the musical landscape you grew up with, which I take it was bluegrass?
Right. I mean,
primarily.
Because I'm from North Carolina.
Yeah,
so
right.
there was an abundance of opportunities to, cut my teeth playing that music. But I think my musical soul, wherever it would have landed, I would have played whatever folk tradition was there. And I love all folk traditions. I just happen to be from a place, so by default, I play the folk traditions of where I'm from.
Huh. How does it that you happened to move to Buenos Aires? How old were you when you did that?
I was 26.
Oh, okay.
So like I said, I had done 2 years of college in southern Spain, and my best friends were Argentinian. So then I later moved down to visit Buenos Aires, and I stayed for a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good long stretch.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I love Buenos Aires. It's my town.
And what you did while you were there musically was formed Che.
Che Apalache was a focus. It was a focus starting in 2016. I had a duo with a musician, an amazing musician named Diego Sanchez. He's an upright bassist, multi-instrumentalist, also a banjo player, but a guy who taught me a lot about music and about life. Diego Sanchez, one of my friends and mentors. I had a duet with him. And then I played a lot of French jazz, manouche, Tsigane jazz.
Fiddle?
There's playing, the violin.
Yeah.
Kind of hacking away at that style of music, which is really demanding. And then I was immersed in, I had dabbled in chacarera, samba, huayno, tango, milonga. Buenos Aires is a very melting pot city, so there's a lot of folk musicians from all over the country that live in Buenos Aires. So they have peñas folclóricas. You can go listen to folk music, like open mic style. And then I traveled through the country and saw some of that music. So just via osmosis, I was exposed. But I just tried to, I kind of take inspiration from those styles of music and, like play it on the banjo. Why not? That was my MO. Like, I'm going to play this stuff on banjo. I'm a banjo player from North Carolina, so I got to try to keep it real.
Well, so banjo or something reminiscent of banjo present in the music you heard there?
Not really. Guitar styles are somewhat similar in Argentina, and then you can sort of get like a charango effect, a little Andean music, and with fiddle you can sort of do. It's kind of great for Andean pentatonic kind of melodies, but in Venezuelan music, which I'm discovering now with Larry, there's an instrument called the bandola. It's a 4-string Venezuelan guitar. It's kind of pear-shaped. It's a very unique and unknown instrument outside of northern South America. And I'm kind of adapting techniques for the banjo that are reminiscent of bandola techniques because of this duo, trying to take influence from that curious little instrument. It's a really cool instrument, especially in the hands of someone like Moises Torrealba se llama? Moises Torrealba. There's a lot of crazy, awesome interpreters of that instrument.
Have some of the folks that you've collaborated with, when I'm thinking about some names that folks who listen to this program would know, I'm thinking of, for instance, I'm just right now, I'm having the very funniest blank of all. Some of the folks that you've worked with, Abigail Washburn.
Yeah, Abigail Washburn and
Bela
Fleck, Tim O'Brien, Charlie Hunter.
Right, and are some of those folks people who have a similar curiosity?
Oh yeah.
That you have.
I mean, my
about
childhood
world
hero
instruments?
was Bela Fleck.
Yeah.
That's why I played banjo. I just wanted to be Bela, and so I sort of, as I went along, it advanced in my career, and I had a band in Argentina. I was just endlessly like harassing Bela through any means I could, letter writing, maybe hey, could you tell Bela? Until I finally got his attention. And he ended up producing Chiapalache's second album. We cut it in his basement in Nashville. But yeah, he was a huge musical inspiration for sure, because he's done all kinds of crazy stuff with the banjo.
Yes,
And,
right.
And I wanted to do that too. So I'm definitely like of the Bela world music banjo school of people. That's what I've tried to do in my life. And now we are lucky enough to be produced by Charlie Hunter, who's this wizard of jazz, funk, blues guitar, and whatever else he wants to do that wound up, thank God, in Greensboro, North Carolina. And so we've gone to like the rhythm school with him and gotten a great musical education. Lucky to have good mentors.
Wow.
Abigail Washburn also recorded on a song on my solo album in 2021, and Tim O'Brien's like the consummate guy that sings and plays simultaneously. So of course he's like, a huge influence on me as well.
Also, right. Also, a guy with an amazing voice.
Yeah, he. I just feel like he's the first person that I copied as much as I could singing. Like I wanted to be Tim O'Brien as a vocalist and play all the instruments behind my own voice and figure it out. And yeah.
I've always heard something Glenn Campbell and Tim O'Brien. I don't know what it is, but when I listen through his songs and when I hear your voice as well.
Cool. I'm actually not that familiar with Glenn Campbell. He may very well have listened to a ton of it.
Who knows,
and that
right?
sometimes that happens. Like you don't even know where someone you're imitating sources, and that might be deemably a problem. I should probably educate myself on some Glenn Campbell here.
That's all right. You're plenty educated. So I would love for you to go then to that place, that point when the professor from Duke introduced the two of you, and how did that come about? You were at a place called the Fruit. Yeah, and tell us about the Fruit.
The Fruit's the coolest arts and culture space that I know of in North America. It's just kind of this sort of warehousey vibe that has it's a multi-space. There's like a big theater, and then there's a warehouse space that's a smaller area, still pretty big for music. Then there's some basement rooms. There's like a dungeony feel, and there's all these art installations, and it's just a fantastic art space in Durham, North Carolina. Está buenísimo. It's crazy. It's something you might find more like in Berlin or in Buenos Aires. And the moment I stepped foot in there, which was December of last year, I was offered a residency there, 1 month. Every Thursday night did a gig, and invited, kind of like did the artistic curation and had a different thing every week. So I was, I knew Sofia Enriquez was in town, and I wanted to collaborate with her because she's not only a professor at Duke, but she's a great musician. She does a lot of Mexican kind of influenced music. So she told me about this harp player from Venezuela, and I was like, música llanera, because I'd been listening to this music since I was a teenager. I love música llanera, but I never had the chance to study with a master. Found he was in Raleigh. I saw some videos of him playing and just couldn't believe it. And I just cold called him and said, hey, man, you want to be a part of this residency? He's like, yeah, sure. Who are you? And then we figured it out, and we had a pretty immediate connection. And it's been a whirlwind getting it together, just figuring it out.
What's been challenging for you about incorporating banjo into this style of music and into these kinds of rhythms, which seem to me entirely complex, and they're just foreign to me.
Well, really, without getting too technical, Venezuelan music's incredibly polyrhythmic. So you're doing you're doing like kind of that strumming pattern, and you're going to have a melody that kind of pulls in a different direction. So you've got these cross currents, these polyrhythms that are happening between what you're playing and what you're singing, and it's hard. So you just imitate. Like Larry's a master at it, so I just press record, and then I go home and like, how's he do that? Just kind of decodify it. And it's still a work in progress for me. But then adapting that to the 5-string banjo I'm working on trying to emulate the cuatro with my strumming hand without the picks, the fingers without the picks, which are only two. I try to do strumming patterns with that, make it sound sort of cuatro-y, and then I learn harp lines. He teaches me the right hand of the harp line. The banjo's kind of like the West African harp. Yeah. And sometimes the sounds are so similar, like you can't tell which one is which. So it has turned out that the banjo kind of has this unique role in música llanera. It can sort of do harpy stuff and also cuatro-y stuff and bandola stuff. So it's unexplored, but Venezuelan folk musicians have been very receptive. ¿Verdad que los músicos venezolanos han sido bastante abiertos al banjo?
Sí, hay una recepción bastante agradable.
Yeah, it's a very lovely kind of reception. And as a banjo player, as any banjo player knows, it's like, wow, I'm not just annoying people. Like they actually like this. I've never felt this. I'm really compelled to keep going.
Unique banjo experience,
totally.
Right?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, thank you for this one folk tradition where everyone's not, immediately turned off.
¿Ya eres inspiración?
Yeah, and actually we had there's a young man named Teodoro who's in Mérida, Venezuela, who started to play banjo and wants to play música llanera on the banjo. Venezuelan teenager. That's pretty cool. So we'll see where this goes. We're just cutting our teeth. But yeah, people there the banjo isn't stigmatized in Venezuela. No one has any idea what it is. They just think it has a cool sound.
Oh, we love it here.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, there's enough people that love the banjo.
So do you play Scruggs style and climber and
I don't
peak
play
style?
No, I just play 3-finger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Scruggs style.
Yeah.
3-finger banjo. Yeah. That's all I do.
And it's that surprises me. I would imagine that you did all kinds of different.
Well, I guess the
styles on
strumming
banjo.
patterns are. I've tried clawhammer. I'm not any good at it, but I can fake it. I know the rudimentary techniques, but
the bum
I've dabbled
bitty or
in
whatever
it. But
it is.
yeah, I'm really into this 3-finger thing. It just is. It's what it's one of my. I identify with it.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. To me, it's just the notes break up this rhythm in such a way, just delineate beat in a neat way.
Right. Yeah. To
Really
get the
like
right rhythmic feel in Venezuelan music, Charlie Hunter has been a really good teacher of helping me envision new techniques, or not new techniques, more like a blues guitar, African American blues guitar legacy techniques, like thumb-oriented, downstroke-oriented techniques to try to get more of a the correct swing. It's still an exploration, I don't feel like I'm anywhere yet, but bound to get there, hopefully.
Well, thanks for inviting us to listen to you explore. It is just terrific.
Thank you so much.
So deep into this, and I know all of our listeners are as well. We are really enjoying our time with Larry Bellorin and Joe Troop this evening. I've just been talking with Joe. There's some more music now.
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
More music.
Yeah.
Well, this is the most recorded instrumental from out of Venezuela. It's called Molindo Café. And it's a harp. It was written on the harp by Hugo Blanco, but we're going to do it on banjo and cuatro. So speaking of Simon Diaz, as Larry grabs the harp, I'll tell you about this song. This is the most recorded Venezuelan song, also written by Simon Diaz. It's called Caballo Viejo, which means old horse, for all the old horses out there listening to us. As Tim O'Brien says, we tune because you care. Cuando el amor llega así de esta manera, uno no se da ni cuenta. El canuntal reverdece y guamachito florece y la soga se revienta. Cuando el amor llega así de esta manera, uno no se da ni cuenta. El canuntal reverdece y guamachito florece y la soga se revienta. Caballo le dan sabana porque está viejo y cansado, pero no se dan de cuenta que un corazón amarrado, cuando le sueltan las riendas, es caballo desbocado. Si una potra la sana, caballo viejo se encuentra, el pecho se le desgrana, no hace caso a falseta, y no le obedece al freno, ni le paran falsas riendas.
El amor llega así de esta manera, uno no tiene la culpa. Quererse no tiene horario ni fecha en el calendario cuando las ganas se juntan. Cuando el amor llega así de esta manera, uno no tiene la culpa. Quererse no tiene horario ni fecha en el calendario cuando las ganas se juntan. Caballo le dan sabana porque está viejo y cansado y se va por la mañana con su pasito apurado a verse con su potranca que no tiene barbasca.
El potro da tiempo al tiempo porque le sobra la... Caballo viejo no puede perder la flor que le dan, porque después de esta vida no hay otra oportunidad.
Da. So, looks like we've come to our last song. Oh, yeah. No, is it next to last song? Oh, great. Okay. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, then we're going to let Larry tune up his maracas here. And oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding me, Brad. Would you guys sing again, please? Y'all are the best. All right, we're going to do this one. This is an Appalachian classic. It was written by a guy named Bill Browning from West Virginia, and it's been done by countless bluegrass and rock bands. A lot of you may know what it is. It's Roll in My Sweet Baby's Arms. And the chorus goes, roll in my sweet baby's arms, roll in my sweet baby's arms. I'm going to lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. We're not in New York City. It's the mail train. Then I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms. So, yeah, and urban old-time music. There's a lot of that, actually. Those New Yorkers play great bluegrass and old-timey music. Anyway, so please sing along on the choruses. We're going to let John Hamlet's banjo ring out o'er the hill country. Here it is, Roll in My Sweet Baby's Arms. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I ain't gonna work on the railroad. I ain't gonna work on the farm. Gonna lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. Then I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms. All right, y'all. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. Then I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms. Maybe I know your parents, they don't like me. They turn me away from your door. If I had my life to the over, I wouldn't go around there no more. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. Then I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms. Well, there were you last Friday night while I was lying in jail. You were walking the streets with another man and you wouldn't even go my bill. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. Then I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay around the shack till the mail train comes back. Then I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms.
All right.
Little bluegrass maracas.
Well, there are so many people to thank for our program. First, Larry, Bellorin and Joe Troop, our guests on tonight's program. Larry and Joe, we're ever grateful for our volunteers and staff who make our production happen so beautifully each week. We want to thank all of you for listening to our webcast, watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and those listening to us on the network of Red Barn stations and media worldwide. Thanks to WEKU. That's Red Barn's premier radio partner, Central and Eastern Kentucky's radio news leader. You can listen online at weku.org. It's your chance to hear more great live music from Red Barn Radio and WEKU. NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Those of you here in the Central Kentucky area, be sure to check out Red Barn TV. It's our weekly program of music, now on ABC 36 WTVQ. Red Barn Radio comes to you from our home, the Arts Place Performance Hall in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Our website has updates and further information on our program. We're on the web at redbarnradio.com. Joe, I wonder if before you play your last number, if you might just tell us a little bit about it, some of the background.
Yeah, this song is one that I wrote for a Native American activist and spiritual leader, political prisoner who has been wrongfully incarcerated for 45 years and counting, Leonard Peltier. Leonard was convicted of a crime he didn't commit, and I heard about him from a Lakota man in the Argentinian Patagonia in 2017, had never heard his name, and that person said, it's not a surprise that you haven't heard of him because this is a big cover-up. And I think it's important for us to know our own history and to just, to acknowledge this history of how this experiment called the USA got started. This song is part of a movement. There's a big march happening right now between Minneapolis and Washington, D.C. A bunch of Native activists are on the March to Justice, Leonard Peltier's March to Justice, carrying a prayer to D.C., asking for his clemency. And everyone listening and everyone here, if you just take a minute, I'd love to ask you from the bottom of my heart just to say his name, Leonard Peltier. Leonard Peltier. If you can say his name, now you've said it. Now you can learn about him. And hopefully he can walk free and go back to his family. This song is called Free Leonard Peltier, and everyone's welcome to listen to it. All proceeds will go to the International Leonard Peltier Defense Committee. And the music video made for this was directed by one of my good friends, Rodrigo Yol Diaz, a Mayan Cachiquel man that lives in Efland, North Carolina. So check out that video. Here it is, Free Leonard Peltier.
I thank God for all the outlaws, how they're doing the world some good. This old world could use good trouble. We ought to do as Leonard would. We have broken every treaty, disavowed them from the start, causing hardship with indifference and a cage around our hearts. We write doctrines of injustice, which we sanctify as law. We incarcerate their warriors for doing right. They take the fall. In a run-down Florida prison, Leonard Peltier's doing time. 45 long years and counting, though he's guilty of no crime. It's an old familiar story, truth against the FBI. Locked up warrior lives his Sundance. Uncle Sam's caught in a lie. I thank God for all the outlaws, how they're doing the world so good. This old world could use good trouble. We ought to do as Leonard would. We've defiled their sacred mountains, chiseled faces in the stone. Our belligerent dead presidents ever looming o'er their home. When their youth rose up in protest and demanded dignity. Uncle Sam took aim on groundless blame, sneering with impunity. Nowadays, Sam's building pipelines to contaminate our wells. He's got legal aid from billionaires and a lot of gas to sell. But courageous folks like Leonard put their freedom on the line. Guided by the great creator, they break Sam's laws so we survive. I thank God for all you outlaws out there doing the world some good. This old world could use good trouble. We ought to do as Leonard would.
Leonard Peltier.
That's all for our show for this week. You can see and hear Red Barn Radio worldwide as we stream live on the web on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern in North America. You can also listen to archived performances on Spotify and iTunes and watch plenty of video on the Red Barn Radio YouTube channel. Remember, every like, comment, share, and subscribe helps bring Roots Music Southern style to your neck of the woods. And finally this, if any of our featured artists are performing out in your area, get out there and hear them live. They need you now more than ever. From all of us here at Red Barn Radio now, to all of our friends worldwide, keep working together to be safe and healthy. And until next time, good night from Red Barn Radio.